The presentation you'll be watching is about ethnography and ethnographic research. This presentation is by Julia Morgan and Naomi Moore. We hope you enjoy. What is ethnographic research? The word ethnography is derived by combining the Greek roots ethno, meaning folk or people, and graphy, meaning picture or portrait. Ethnography is a branch of anthropology and is considered the systematic study of individual cultures. The focus of an ethnography is a culture-sharing group, which is referred to people who are usually located in the same place, who interact often, and who share an identity and patterns of behavior, language, power, and values. Some important definitions are listed on this slide. Culture can be defined as ancestral heritage, social structure, and location shared by a group of people. It can also be applied to power structures, roles, and communication patterns of more loosely connected groups. An example of a cultural practice would be the art of henna. This has been practiced in Pakistan, India, Africa, and the Middle East for over 5,000 years. It was originally used for its natural cooling properties for the people living in hot desert climates, but is still practiced as a part of culture to this day. Ethnographies are written reports of a culture from the perspective of insiders. The insider's viewpoint of a culture is referred to as the emic perspective, while an outsider's viewpoint of a culture is referred to as the etic perspective. The purpose of ethnographical research. Ethnographical research was initially limited to anthropology and the studies of cultures that were viewed as underdeveloped and remote. However, ethnographical research has expanded in order to promote social change. Cultures that were close but unknown began to be studied using ethnographical methods. Ethnography does not necessarily mean you must travel to another country or region. However, it does mean that you must spend a considerable amount of time in the setting, studying, observing, and gathering data. Classic ethnography seeks to provide a comprehensive description of a culture, usually developed by researchers living for extended periods outside their own country in the environment being studied. Understanding other people's cultures is incredibly important. You're building your respect and empathy for other people, and you're celebrating your differences as well as your similarities. Here's a photo of Bronislaw Malinowski with Trobriand Islanders circa 1918. We decided to incorporate this picture into the presentation because it's a perfect example of someone participating in ethnographic research. He's fully immersing himself into the culture of the islanders in order to better understand their way of life and create better research. Ethnography as a qualitative research method. So when deciding if ethnography is qualitative or quantitative research, it is certainly qualitative research. There are 4 types of ethnography, and all 4 types produce qualitative results. Qualitative research is research that relies on non-numerical data obtained by the researcher or researchers from first-hand observation, questionnaires, artifacts, documents, participant observation, and many other methods. The data collection is used to understand opinions, experiences, or concepts, and in this case, culture. The 4 types of ethnography are classical, systematic, interpretive, and critical. Let's quickly go over the 4 types of ethnography. Classical ethnography describes a foreign culture through immersion in the culture for an extended period of time. Systematic ethnography describes the social organizational structure influencing a specific group of people. Interpretive ethnography interprets the values and attitudes shaping the behaviors of members of a specific group to promote understanding of the context of culture. And lastly, critical ethnography examines the life of a group in the context of an alternative theory or philosophy, such as feminism or constructivism. What are the steps to using this research method? Step 1, identify the core product idea. What problem are you trying to solve and for whom? Step 2, formulate the research questions. What questions do you want answers for? Step 3, finalize research location. Where does your target audience live and where can you find them? Step 4, determine the ethnographic research type. How would you like to conduct ethnographic research for your target audience? Would you like to conduct through passive observation, which is following subjects and observing their regular activities without interactions, or contextual interviews, which is following subjects and observing their regular activities with interactions, or archival research, which is digging up existing documents and past research? Step 5. Seek approvals. Seek approval from the project manager and the subjects that you're observing. Step 6. Conduct the ethnographic research. Observe the subjects, write down notes, take photographs, record interviews, or create videos. Step 7. Analyze the collected data. Analyze gathered information to create the final requirements analysis document regarding user experience. Step 8. Create the requirements document. Creating the finalized requirements document based on ethnographic research inferences. Here's another photo we included in our presentation of researcher Margaret Mead conducting her ethnographic research with 2 Samoan women. In 1925, Margaret Mead journeyed to the South Pacific territory of American Samoa. The purpose of her research was to discover whether adolescence was a universally traumatic and stressful time due to biological factors, or whether the experience of adolescence depended on one's cultural upbringing. Based on her research, Margaret Mead wrote a book called Coming of Age in Samoa. Here's a study example in the use of ethnographic research in East Africa. There was a study done in East Africa relating to working lives of maternity healthcare workers in Malawi and ways to improve the maternal health care. The study used ethnography by focusing on the interrelationships among staff by conducting a 1-year study of 3 different hospitals in Malawi. The findings were transcribed into electronic documents and analyzed using Nivio. The findings were then discussed and developed with the research team, participants, and healthcare workers in Malawi. A conceptual model was developed. The social order of the hospital, that was composed of the social structure of the hospital, or the hierarchy, rules of the hospital, how staff in different staff groups behaved, and the president, or following the example of those before them. The results showed that the Malawian system is under-resourced with staff unable to provide high-quality care due to lack of infrastructure and equipment. Improving the working lives of the Malawian maternity staff will help the staff be happier at work and provide respectful, comprehensive, high-quality care to women. The last slide goes into limitations and challenges to ethnography. Ethnography is time-consuming and requires a well-trained researcher. They need time to build trust with the informants, and if trust is not established, this can cause false results from information being withheld. Bias of the researcher can affect the design of the study and the collection and/or interpretation of the data. Too little data can lead to false assumptions about behavior problems in various cultures. Another challenge faced in ethnographic research can be the choice of informants or selection of informants for the study and relationship established with the informants. Lastly, social situations and conditions, as well as methods of data collection and data analysis, can cause limitations and challenges in ethnographic research. Here's our slide of references. We hope you enjoyed our presentation and learning about ethnographic research as much as we did.